And then there's the next picture right after that. They chained him to 2 black women because it was essentially a demonstration of African Americans in Chicago, and a few white people showed up just to be supportive. And that's Bernie. That's Bernie all the way down the line. He's not new to the party. He's not new to any of this. And that line that he said there is that, yeah, I'm too damn old to change. Thank God we could finally elect somebody who, once they're in office, will not become part of the problem, but become and be the solution. Oh my God. We all know this, don't we? We all know this. Right? We all know this. That's why we're all so secure in voting for Bernie, because we know he will not sell out. We know he cannot be bought. How many times over and over again have we been led to disappointment with people that we were so enamored with and believing in? And sometimes those people, they make a mistake. Sometimes they say and do things they shouldn't have done, and you give them a break. But yeah, we have never had to give Bernie a break, because he consistently is that person who he says that he is. And it doesn't mean that he's perfect. None of us are perfect. But it's just what you see is what you get. And I really love what I see. Don't you love what you see? And because Bernie never changed, because Bernie was always for these things, you have to understand, especially for the younger people, when he was for these things in 1963, he was alone. I mean alone. To be a heterosexual for gay rights in the 60s, you were alone. If you were a feminist man in the 60s, you were alone. You were in a very small group of people. You know how hard this is now, even today. Those things where you're in the minority, and how hard it is to convince people to think about a different way. That's the way he's had to be his whole life. And it could have been a lot easier for him to change. I'm sure he had people advising him, Bernie, it's going to be a lot easier for you if you just softened it a little. If you just kissed more babies. If you just... Did you love him on that New York Times show where the endorsement? Anybody see that? I don't want to encourage you to watch it, but it was so off. Well, because we still want to hope that the New York Times is something. And they did a TV show of themselves to show that there was no there. They pulled, the Wizard of Oz, they needed a dog to pull the curtain back. The New York Times willingly pulled the curtain back on their own endorsement, and it was the saddest thing to watch. The editorial board of the New York Times asking questions like, so, tell us, who broke your heart the most? What? I was like, tell us about your charisma. You seem to be lacking in charisma. And they said to Bernie, you're sort of seen as, I can't remember the words they used, but, grouchy old man. Statler and Waldorf, in the Muppets, in the balcony, And they did not name check Muppets, but his answer to them was so beautiful. He said, well, I'm not that kind of guy. And he said, let me start out by saying that you, the New York Times, and myself, we see the world in a different way. And this is the paper that sent us to the Iraq War, with one lying article after another on the front page back in 2002 and 2003 that there were weapons of mass destruction. And we've lost 4,500 plus of our young men and women as a result of these lies. And he sits down there, he's trying to get their endorsement, and he doesn't give a damn. He says, I'm not gonna sit here and give you a bunch of BS. Well, he didn't say BS, actually. He said bullshit. I'm like, whoa, Bernie, stepping out. He said, well, look, I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. who's going to send you a birthday card every year. I'm not the guy. Okay, here comes the, I'm not the guy. I'm not going to call you up and wish you a happy birthday. I'm not that guy. Wish you a happy birthday so you write nicer things about me. No, he's not that guy, is he? We don't want that anymore. We don't want the fake and the phony and the fraudulent and the, well, I'm for Medicare for all, and then, well, I'm sort of for Medicare for all, and then Medicare for what? No, no, no more, no more, no more. Because he has been consistent through his whole life, because he wouldn't change, here's what happened. We changed. America changed. He didn't change any of his positions about the environment, about women, about war, about income inequality. He said the same damn thing for 60 years. And America changed. That's the good news. The good news, look at any public opinion poll. The good news is the majority of Americans are with Bernie. They're with us on every single issue. The majority of Americans believe climate change is real. The majority of Americans believe women should be paid the same as men. The majority of Americans believe women should have control over their own bodies. The majority of Americans are against mass incarceration. Go down the whole list. They want the minimum wage at $15 an hour or more. America changed. America became Bernie. That's why this is our moment. This is our moment because our fellow Americans have come to Bernie. They've come to us. Let's not blow this moment. Please. There was a story today that there's an ad coming out for one of the candidates here tomorrow, or maybe it's already up tonight. And the ad is about this candidate has decided to say that he believes that you should vote for him because he's the safe candidate. I'm like, whoa, well, I like safe. You know, safe is not one of my trigger words. That's a good word. Safe is good. But what's he really saying? And if that's the bar he set, like I know most of you don't agree with me politically in the Democratic Party and those who are going to caucus as Democrats, but at least I'm safe. I'm the one who can beat Trump. Even though the very same day, the third poll in a row shows that Bernie beats Trump head-to-head by a larger percentage than any of the other candidates. It's like, and I started to think about this. Play it safe. Every time we've been told that. Those of you who are my age, you know this to be true. Let's tell the young people in here, every time we were told, vote safe, and we voted safe, we lost. 1984, 1988, 2000, 2004, 2016. Every time we're said, well, play it safe, we choose the safe nominee, and we lose. Except those times, when we decided to take a risk. And you remember 2 years before Barack Obama was going to run, there was talk about it. How many people in here said, or a friend or a family member said to you, oh, well, I like him. I love that speech at the convention, but I know this country I live in. There's no way they're going to elect a black man. How many times did you all hear that, right? Constantly. But Barack Obama didn't care. And he came to Iowa. And everybody said, well, he's not going to win Iowa. 92% white. You can kiss that one goodbye, Barack. And then look what you did. You ignited something revolutionary. You did one small step to undo our racist, sick, disgusting past for hundreds of years of how African Americans were treated. And you went to caucus and you said, yes, we can. In Iowa. Play it safe. Iowa, what did you do? You were supposed to play it safe. Poor Barack Obama. Can you imagine the number of political advisors that were in his ear constantly telling him what to say, what to do, how to be? And right down to that day I went in 2008 and voted for him, right there on the ballot, I looked down and it said, Barack Hussein Obama. And I looked and I was like, oh, oh no, we're gonna lose. We're at war with a guy named Hussein. He was gone by then, but he was like, no. Oh, can you imagine how many hundreds of Democratic Party advisors told him, no, don't put Hussein on the ballot, please. And if you can we call you Barry? No, he took the risk. He didn't listen to anybody. He took the risk. I had tears in my eyes, man, in that ballot booth. And we had Michigan, we used felt pens. I'm not making this up. Literally, a tear fell onto the ink right there and smeared it. And I'm like trying to... and the person outside the booth was going, are you okay in there? Yes, I'm fine. And I came out because I was so proud to vote for somebody who was willing to even risk on election day losing 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. I don't know how close this is going to be. And he did that. We only win when we take risks. That is how you win, when you play it safe. I don't know if I should leave this job. The benefits are good, and you hate it. You hate working there. Are you still in that job? You got out. Right, but how many of us stay? We think, oh, okay, I'm going to do the safe thing here. I got a family. I got a roof over our heads. I got to do this. I got to do that. That's how they get us, folks. Or this. This is the genius act of all. That the generations before you, my generation, the generation before me, you know what we paid to go to college? Nothing. Or a little bit. And the fact that we allowed this to happen, where we've put you in a debtor's prison for the next 20 or 30 years of your life, that's a crime. That's an absolute crime. And Bernie Sanders knows that. He knows it's a crime. We're going to stop making you pay this to go to university, and we're going to make sure that if you're carrying large debt, that's going to get reduced or eliminated. That is what has to happen right now, and that's what will happen. The risk, yes, the risk. You have to take the risk. I know. Here's what's not safe. I'm going to tell you, this is what's not safe. What's not safe is voting for somebody who voted to send our troops to the Iraq war. That's not safe. That's not safe. And you do not need me to remind you that everyone who voted for that war has lost when they've run for president. If you voted for that war, that's the wrong thing to do. Do we need to learn that lesson a third time? Here's what's not safe. What's not safe is locking up so many of our fellow black and brown citizens. You think we're safer because we did that for these last 30-some years? No. No. And do you think it's safe voting for the person that wrote that damn mass incarceration bill? I don't think so. So when you see this commercial this week, you just have to ask yourself that question and say to yourself, no, I don't need to be calmed down to tell I'm going to vote for the safe choice. I'm going to vote for the person that I believe, first of all, will defeat Donald J. Trump. Will beat Donald J. Trump. And you've seen the polls where it shows there's actually 4 or 5 Democrats, according to the polls, that beat him. Some by a couple points, some by 3 points, 4 points. Bernie today by 9 points. You've seen that. So that's great, except here's the problem. Hillary beat Trump. Hillary got 3 million more votes than Trump. It is not enough to beat Donald J. Trump. We have to crush Donald J. Trump with the truth and with a candidate who is the opposite of Donald Trump. That's how we're going to win. That's why the polls show we're going to win. I began by quoting Bernie, saying that he was a son of the working class. That's what he's most proud of. I am a son of the working class. My sisters are daughters of the working class. Many of you are from the working class. And I thought, is this it? Is this the moment? Is this the time that this can happen? And can Iowa do it again? Can Iowa stand up and say, we understand. We know a lot of you don't like that we're first, but we were willing to go into battle first. We're actually willing. The way to look at this with Iowa is that you're willing to take on the responsibility, because what you do is not just about Iowa. Just like Bernie, what he has done his whole life is not just about Bernie. He gains nothing from eliminating student debt. He gets nothing out of that. He gets nothing out of stopping this climate emergency. Because the people, if we're too late, if we're at that moment where it's too late, what's no greater moment, no more important moment to elect a person that will be relentless in making sure that this stops. And he may, we may get another 20 or 30 or 40 years. And he knows he's not going to be here in 40 years. So why is he doing it? What's he get out of it? What's in it for him? Well, yes, but we have a president who we've seen, even the kids and the grandkids will be thrown under his bus. So, I mean, that is the true narcissist, when he doesn't even give a shit about his own kids or grandkids. Wow, that takes some heavy-duty, psychological, maddening wackadoodle. No. We need you, Iowa. We need you. I am here speaking to you from the other 49 states. We need you a week from this Monday to bring as many people as you can to these caucuses and make a difference this time like it never, they say this every 4 years, but now that was all bullshit. This is the only moment. You don't get a do-over, Iowa, in 4 years. You have to do this. You have to stand up and say enough. Enough when it comes to how we have treated this planet. Enough to how we have treated women. Enough to how we have treated our LGBTQ friends and family members. Enough! Enough of this. Iowa, can you say enough? Can you say enough? Enough! Enough! 2 years ago this month, I started making my last film. And it was January, February. And there was a woman running for Congress in the Bronx. And one of my producers, actually he's sitting right down there, came in and said, you know, we should take a crew up to the Bronx and follow her around. I said, how's she polling? He goes, 3%. Whoa. Well, again, why would I want to risk spending a crew and all the effort and time on somebody who's only polling at 3%? But then we looked at some of the things that she'd written, some of the things that she had said, and I said, oh my God, she's going to win. And one of the other producers said, no, she's running against one of the most powerful Democratic leaders in the U.S. Congress. And we just decided to throw caution to the wind and go up there and follow her around. And, you know, I am so proud and honored to be standing on this stage with her. And I want to tell her that in the work and the research that we've been doing for our project right now, there are at least another 20 to 30 AOCs around the country running for Congress this year. Running for state rep, state senate, all the other offices. Why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? Because they saw that a young woman who at that time was bartending could actually go to Congress. That thing we've been told since we were little kids, that anybody can get elected, anybody can go to Congress, anybody can be president. Well, we've learned that one is true, actually. But now, there are going to be dozens of women like AOC running this October. And what we're going to have this November 3rd. What that's going to guarantee, and I tell you, from my lips to whoever you believe in's ears, that we are going to give President Sanders a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate. We're going to do that. Yes, we are. I promise you, I believe this in my heart of hearts. And I want to bring out on this stage the person that has inspired this revolution, the person that has made, as Bernie said, more of a difference than any first-term member of Congress, perhaps in the history of the United States. Let's give her a big Iowa welcome. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC.